Alright, so we got some parts here. This is parts from the first 10 steps. So I've taken them off the sprue, cleaned them up. So what I'm going to do is put some of it together, what I can, that I can paint easily. Other parts I'll paint separate and glue it on afterwards. Some parts you just need to be careful. The sprue gates are on contact points, so you need to clean up where you cut it off. You need to make sure it's flat because that's going to sit in these slots. Like so. So you just need to make sure they're flattened off properly. The tabs are pretty like, which one? So you got a bit of a tab there, it's pretty shallow. That'll sit in here. But it does fit. The only thing I've glued together are these. I think someone said on my review that they're the canisters or the magazines for the guns. So there's two halves, I've glued them together. I'm going to try and, I've done this differently. Instead of putting the parts on top of the manual, I've got the manual behind me. I've taken a photo, see if I can edit it in. But the so the call out instrument panel's black. That it's very soft, not pretty soft. I'd say very soft. But this particular aircraft, you're not really going to see a lot the way it's designed. So I'm not too concerned about it, and I'm just doing an out-of-box build, so no aftermarket. This one I think is a bit soft as well, and they've called out it's the interior green, British interior green or Royal Air Force interior green with black controls or the instrumentation and that. I'm just going to paint the whole thing black because it's too, I think it's too soft on the details to mask off and paint separately. So as I mentioned in the review, the seats, I got the harness molded into them, which I don't like. So I'm going to sand them out. I've already given it a shot. I've never done this before. I got some lead wire and I roll it out flat, and I'm just going to make harnesses out of that. So there's no buckles or anything, it's just a representation. Again, you're not seeing a real lot in this particular aircraft, and I don't want to use aftermarket in it. I do have some aftermarket harnesses you could use which have all the buckles and that, but I just want to keep it out of the box, so that'll represent the harness. It's a bit crude, but it's better than that, in my opinion anyway. This one was at the rear. This was on its own little sprue, so it must be, I'm guessing it was specific for this particular variant maybe. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'll go over what I can put on now and paint without too difficult getting at it. The other bits you just clip them or whatever and paint them separately, and then we'll have a look-see. I'm waiting for some paint and decals to dry in the interior, so I've moved on to start cleaning up the wings. So I'm doing the gear bay. So for the right wing, that's step 20 and 22. So the first piece you put in, so this is the opposite side. I've glued that in, but I just want to show how that sits. There's a couple of tabs either side where that will fit into. But you need to make sure when you glue it that these sides of that part are flush with the wing, like here, so it sits into the groove of the wing. And then on step 20, this part looks vague as to, I'm not sure where it was supposed to sit. They just had the picture of the part going in. And I think, well, was it supposed to sit there like that, or was it supposed to be flushed like that? But it's like that. The reason I come to that conclusion, let me put that out again, is I prepared the other parts from step 22. So these will come in, hang on, yeah, there. So when that goes in either side, and I put that back in, they're flush. So that's how it's supposed to sit, because you have the when you put the sides in, there's like a cover which is the roof of the gear bay, and there's a bulkhead at the front. So again, make sure these parts, you need to make sure you clean the sprue gate tabs off properly, otherwise you're not going to get parts seating correctly. I'm not doing this without my visor. I always build with a visor, magnifying visor. So then that part should just come back in there. This was meant to go in first, so I'm probably creating myself issues here. I am. Come on. This is why I don't build on camera. Things go wrong. And it's supposed to go that way, I think. pause that. I'm going to put my visor on and check it out properly. Alright, so that's in properly, but it's not what I'd call a beautiful fit. So that pipe work there's a gap between them. I'm not going to worry about it, but you might have to, if you're not going to see it, but if you wanted to, you'd have to fill that gap with something. And that bulkhead has got a bit of a gap, and if I push that down, it'll come out of the slots that were at the top there. So it's not not brilliant, but you're not really gonna see it. Now let's check. It appears alright, but I can't glue that on yet. I've got to put something else in, but looks like it should be okay. Alright, that fit I had, that was my own doing. I think it's because I put that one piece in after I should have, because when I did this side, I got a better fit with those pipes. They're still not perfect. And then I come back and looked at this one and realised that whole box section needed to go back because it wasn't sitting in the right spot. So when I pushed that part in earlier and kept moving it around, I didn't get it back in its proper position. So I re-glued it to soften it up, and I've pulled it back. So the gap is still a bit, but it's lessened, so it's back where it should be. There's still a bit of a gap on that front bulkhead, but that might pull in with some glue. I won't worry about that yet. I'll worry about getting the wings, top parts of the wings on. So the other bits I had to put in were these pieces at the back where the flaps go. So it's part of the structure of the wing. Same again, all the sprue gates are in positions that can foul the fit. So make sure you clean them off properly so you get it to seat in position properly. As a guide, there's like a lip raised edge where it pushes up against, and there was this piece at the front for the light on that wing. So I can glue the wings on now. I have to check all the fit. Might have to, there's a bit of a foul, might have to sand that down a bit. That part there, it's holding it up, I think. Anyway, so this is all steps. That's 24, step 25, and then your wings go on. I'll probably put this aside for a minute and go back to my inner fuselage. Alright, these are your majority of the engine parts. So this is one I've put together. It's same as every other kit, 2 halves to each part of the cylinders. Just be mindful, there are tabs that need to remain on several of them. So they highlight it here. Where is it? Well, not so much highlighted, but you can see there's a tab still on there, so don't cut it right down, because that's how you align the 2 halves up. There's when you bring the 2 halves together, there's on each piece there's 3 tabs, so that they'll line up. That's how you know how it aligns. And then the front one, same again, it's got the 3 tabs. What I did is, I did obviously I started with 60 and 58, which is the back. It's got the shaft in there. They say don't glue it, but that's if you want to sit there and spin your propellers. Personally, I don't do that. So put them together, run the glue in there, and then squeezed them one at a time as I went around. I haven't cleaned them up yet, and to be honest, my one, all you're going to see is that, because the cowl wraps it. So if you don't want to clean it, all that seam joins up and you're not going to see it. And the exhaust just plug in the back. They align with the back of the engine. It can only go one way, and they fit. So that's all you can ask. It's I've done other builds where the exhausts aren't long enough and things like that. Well, these are. So, and when you join the two halves together, so this piece has got 3 holes and it's got the 3 pins, so that's how you get the alignment up and it all fits together. All good. Move that. Alright, so I got my interior together, and I've also painted up the fuselage interior halves while I did all this, so you can see everything's in there that's meant to be in there. The instrument panel's got the decal on it, so that the soft details are on there. I guess it doesn't matter with the decal. I know the decal's a bit bland, but for out of box, that's just what I've got and that's what I'm using. I'll give it a wash yet before I put it in, but it all fitted good, no issues. And I've done a dry fit. So you got these bulkheads. You can see there's a break in the ribs along there. That's where the first bulkhead goes, and that's where the rear bulkhead will rest. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll just try this. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. It all fits, no issues. Not ready to glue that just yet. So I was about to say, you need to put your tail wheel together and put it in at this stage. Like that. There's 2 ways it can sit. If you got the gear up or down, that'll go in there like that. You need to put it in because it's got the little dowels on it that will push into those slots, and then the fuselage will cover it up, so I don't think you can get in there after the fact. So I'm just going to put it in there. I haven't painted it up yet. So the wheel's 2 halves and the gear leg's 2 halves. So I've painted the wheel, cleaned it up, put the leg together. So I've pinched it together, but I haven't sanded the seam joint yet. That's got to be done. And then I'm going to have to try and, actually this one, the top part's aluminium, and then the colour call outs, this bit's black, so I'll hand paint that. That'll help with that, because otherwise you got to try and mask the wheel off when you airbrush. So that's got to go in. But so far I'm happy with that. It's fitted right how it's meant to, and I checked with the fuselage halves. That's where you might expect a problem, but no problem. Just like I said, just make sure you're checking all your sprue gates have cleaned up properly, everything where you need to, so you don't have issues. And I started gluing the wing up, so it was I did have to remove a bit of the top of that piece for the light. it was fouling up that fit. Otherwise that's alright, that all fits, so I just need to clean up the seam joins. Alright, so a bit of a good start in on it.